do I mean by the slave mind? It's the mentality where we feel powerless, where we believe that our circumstances are entirely out of our control, and where we wait for someone else to come and save us. It's the mindset that keeps us shackled to mediocrity and prevents us from reaching our full potential. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for quite a while now, and I've been meaning to upload this video. It's the concept of the slave mind. Now, before you start thinking I'm about to give you a history lesson on colonialism and apartheid, let me stop you right there. This isn't about the past, it's about the present, and more importantly, our future, your future. South Africa is a complicated history. We've been through a lot, and those experiences have scars. But here's the thing, while our past can inform our present, it shouldn't dictate our future. We cannot use history as a crutch to justify why we are not moving forward. It's time to take responsibility and change the narrative. If you ever feel like there's something wrong with this country and you're not saying it, you're not crazy. If you feel like you were born for more, but you keep getting told to wait your turn and fall in line, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Because that was the goal from the beginning, to make you have such a mind. Let's talk, me and you. Just me and you in a room, eye to eye, no performance, no politics, and just truth. This country, South Africa, is one of the most blessed lands on earth. Look around. We have gold, we have diamonds, we have oceans, we have mountains, we have 11 languages and 1,000 more accents. We have soul, we have style, culture, music, hustle. We survived apartheid, we survived colonization, we divided and we conquered. We survived it all. But now we face a different kind of war. Not with guns, not with tanks. This war is psychological. It's invisible, and it's been inside the mind this entire time. This modern day war is against the slave mind. What is the slave mind, Sama? The slave mind is a virus. It's a sickness of the spirit. It's not about race. It's not about class. It's not about consciousness. It whispers in your ear every day, you'll never make it. Just be grateful for what you have. Stay in your lane. You're too young, you're too black, you're too poor, you're too ambitious, you're not educated enough. Don't question authority, don't dream too big. That voice, that's not you. That's the echo of centuries of control, psychological shackles passed down from generation to generation until you and I accepted them as normal. But hear me clearly, you were not born to be a slave. You were born to rule your mind, and when you rule your mind, you rule your mentality. You see, when they couldn't chain our bodies anymore, they came for our minds. They told us we are developing. They told us we are third world. Ooh, remember that one? They told us we are behind. They told us to ask for help, to wait for opportunities, to vote harder, whatever that means. And slowly, bit by bit, we started believing it. We stopped dreaming big. We stopped starting businesses. We stopped building communities. We stopped going to church. We started waiting for government, waiting for funding, waiting for handouts, waiting to be saved. But let me ask you this. When did we become beggars in our own land? You were not born to be average. You were not born to work 40 years and die with regret. You were not born to scroll endlessly on a phone while someone else profits off of your attention. You were not born to watch others live while you merely exist. Let me tell you something personal. I wasn't always like this. I didn't always speak like this. I didn't always behave like this. I didn't always believe the way I believe. I was a weird child. That's true. I was a strange child. That's true, but I wasn't always like this. There was a time when I doubted everything. I doubted my words. I doubted my voice. I doubted my purpose. I doubted my future. Sometimes I'd just stare at the ceiling at night, wondering if this was it, if the pain would stay, if I'd be stuck in the same place forever, begging for life to throw a bone. Scrolling through social media, comparing myself to people who looked like they had it all figured out. Feeling like I was always 2 steps behind, like everyone else had the blueprint and I didn't. Just used to sit there and I used to ask myself and tell myself, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe some people are meant to stay in the background. Maybe people like me aren't meant to break free. That voice in my head wasn't quiet. It screamed every day. But it didn't start in adulthood. It started way earlier. I remember being a little kid, an innocent child in a devil's world. Everything was going wrong. In the family, outside the family, everything. I'd stare at the ceiling late at night, eyes wide open, not because I wanted to. I just couldn't sleep. I'd hear my parents snoring, I'd hear my siblings breathe heavy in their sleep, but not me. I was awake, sitting there. I was just a kid, man. And yeah, I was a scaredy cat. I was terrified of the dark. But those nights, I just didn't care. I wasn't scared of monsters anymore. I wasn't scared of the dark because the real monsters were not under my bed. They were in my head, they were in the air, and they were in the silence. So I just stared at the ceiling, alone in the dark, with all the weight of a child, with all the weight a child shouldn't have to carry. All that pain and no one knew. And worst of all, I listened to those voices. I listened to them. I let it lead. I let it call on me. I let it chain me. Inside I was crumbling. I became a prisoner of my own doubt as a child. But then one day I realized something. No one was coming to save me. No miracle, no knight in shining armor, no Superman, no perfect timing. And somehow that set me free. Because it meant that I was the one. I was the rescuer I'd been waiting for. I was the answer. I was the fire. And from that day, I stopped waiting. I started speaking. I started moving. I started building. Not because I had confidence, but because I had no choice. Because my soul was dying in silence and I refused to let that be the end of my story. And slowly, very slowly, I became something I never thought I could be, a believer. A believer in my own voice, a believer in my own vision, a believer in my own power. And if I could come from where I came from, all that doubt, all that self-hate, all that fear, and all that rise and still rise, what about you? I'm not better than you. I'm not smarter than you. I sure as hell am not stronger than you. You've probably been through much worse. The only difference is that I stopped believing in the lie and you still believe. I buried my slave mind. I chose not to believe. I chose not to believe in luck, not in chance, not in purpose, in me. And now I believe in you because I know that voice in your head. I lived with it. But I also know beyond any doubt, you can kill it. You can rise above it. And you can become something you've never thought possible. Free. Free. Let me remind you who you are. You come from warriors. You come from kings. You come from builders and farmers and engineers and prophets. You come from people who survived the unspeakable and still stood tall. This land was watered by your ancestors' blood, and now you want to sit on the sidelines? No, not anymore. You see, they want you to believe it's hopeless. They want to show you the corruption, crime, and make you collapse on repeat. They feed you failure so that you stop expecting better. They only show you chaos. Because when you're hopeless, you are easy to control. But what they don't show you is the man starting his own barbershop with no help. The young woman tutoring 5 kids in her shack. The church that feeds 300 people every weekend. The kids in the township who start businesses with less than 100 rand. The fighters, the doers, the unbreakables. The kid who started rising on YouTube with a yellow pillow behind his head and a microphone. You've been told the key to life is a degree, that success means a 9-to-5 job in a cubicle, that your dreams are too loud, that your fire is too much, your time will come. But what if I told you no one is coming? And that's a good thing. Because when you finally realize no one is coming to get you, you wake up. You stop begging and you start building. You stop complaining and you start creating. You stop idolizing and you start innovating. You stop asking why me and start declaring why not me. The war isn't out there, it's in here. And the resistance begins when you start thinking for yourself, questioning, reading, learning, unplugging from the noise, tuning into your own voice. They want you to fight each other, man against woman, black people versus white people, Zulus versus Xhosas, the rich versus the poor. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the book, but we see through it now. We are not enemies. We are not tribes. We are one. We are human beings. One country, one dream, one destiny. And when we unite in purpose, there is nothing they can do to stop us. You have a gift. Yes, you listening right now. I don't care where you live. I don't care what school you went to. I don't care what mistakes you've made. I don't care if you're 16 or 60. You have something inside you that the world needs. A voice, a skill, a story, a business, an idea, a song, a fight. And if you don't share it, the world loses. We lose. So don't wait until it's perfect. Don't wait until you have funding. Don't wait until people support you. Start with what you have. Start where you are and grow. Because waiting is a symptom of the slave mind. Rewrite your code, young champ. You are not your trauma. You are not your childhood. You are not your past. You are not your skin. You are not your poverty. You are not your pain. You are not your parents. You are a force of nature. You are a chosen soul. You are the answer to a question this world has not asked yet. But first, you must delete the code they installed in your computer called your mind. They told you you can't. Rewrite that code. I will. They told you you're just another number. Rewrite it. I am purpose in motion. They told you be realistic. Rewrite it. I was not born to be realistic. I was born to be legendary. And you will be mocked for doing that. You will be mocked for changing. They will laugh at you. Let me warn you. When you resist the slave mind, people will hate you for it. You will be called arrogant. They called me a crazy kid. They'll say, oh, Summer's changed. He's changed too because he listens to Summer now. They'll say, who does he think he is? Let them talk because they mocked Mandela. They mocked Jesus. They mocked Elon Musk. They mocked every revolutionary until they couldn't anymore. And they will mock you until your results speak so loudly they have no choice but to listen. South Africa needs a new generation, not a generation of keyboard warriors, not a generation of victims, not a generation of influencers driving Lambos and renting OnlyFans models, not a generation of passive consumers, a generation of builders, of warriors, of truth tellers, of leaders who refuse to sell their soul for a paycheck and a pat on the back. A generation who doesn't run when things get hard. A generation who fights for legacy, not likes. A generation who refuses to bow to fear, to mediocrity, and to the slave mind. And always remember that your future is not for sale. You don't have to sell out. You don't have to trade your soul for validation. You don't need a sponsor to be successful. You don't need to be famous to be powerful. You don't need to be liked to be effective. All you need is a decision. Decide that you will be different, that your life will count, that your mind will be free, that your children will not inherit the chains you had. And once you decide, you act, you build, you lead. And if you've made it this far in the video, I want you to know something. This isn't just a speech or a video. It's a seed. A seed I have planted into your soul. It's going to bother you now. You're going to walk differently, talk differently, think differently after this. And one day you'll look back on this moment and say, that's the day everything changed, when I saw the video of this kid. Because you'll realize you're not alone. You're not powerless. You're not crazy. And most of all, you're not done. You say when you're done. This is your time. This is your story. This is your country and your mind, your beautiful, unbreakable, divine mind. It belongs to you. Break the chains. Bury the slave mind. Rise. South Africa must resist the slave mind. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Thank you.